I don't really feel like getting out and going for a ride today. Said no motorcyclist ever. Hey, my name is Nick. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about motorcycle safety gear, specifically helmets and jackets, their different safety certification levels, and what they mean. I've been riding motorcycles for a long time, for more than 20 years. I first got into amateur motocross when I was about 12 years old. That's when I really developed a deep love for motorcycles. Um, Even today, I'm still riding. I ride this old Triumph over here. Spent a lot of time working on it too, but still have a lot of fun with it. I've crashed a couple of times. I know what it's like to have to use that safety gear. But I'm in no means an expert. I don't claim to be. I just want to share knowledge that I've found in my research. I've actually been researching this stuff for many years. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with helmets. I'm going to tell you a little bit about helmets, their different safety ratings, and what they mean. Um, you're going to find three main safety ratings in the United States. DOT being the most common, stands for Department of Transportation. ECE being the second most common, that stands for the European Standards Commission. And the last one that you're going to see is the SNELL rating from the SNELL Memorial Foundation. And they test a lot of racing gear and that kind of stuff. Now, of course, there are more than three safety ratings on helmets. But here in the United States, those are the three that are recognized by most legal entities, law enforcement agencies, those sort of things. And I want to start with the DOT, Department of Transportation rated helmets, because they are the legal minimum requirement for a helmet that you wear on a roadway in the United States. DOT certifies their helmets according to their the form FMVSS218, and it's a very long document. It's like 50 pages. I will leave a link to it because it is very interesting and there's a lot of good information in there. One thing, and really one of the big reasons I wanted to do my speech on this is I wanted to get a little known fact out there. The DOT actually hasn't tested a helmet since 1997, and they prior to that they haven't tested a helmet since 1980. They don't test many helmets. They actually don't certify any helmets. They just create the criteria and require that manufacturers of helmets test and certify the helmets themselves, which opens the door for a lot of inconsistencies. And like I said, they haven't themselves tested a helmet in such a long time. And that's really the big reason why when you tell a motorcyclist something is DOT rated, they just kind of shrug like, whatever, that doesn't mean a whole lot to us because the DOT really, they don't do a whole lot for motorcycle safety. They have not updated the form since 1988. Um, so that's very important to know. Even though it is the minimum legal requirement for a helmet in the United States, they don't test helmets. They don't really have a whole lot to do with it. Um, but the next one that I'm going to talk about, the ECE rating that you'll find on helmets, that means that the helmet is certified safe by the European Standards Commission. Their standards and criteria for testing are quite a bit higher and more rigorous than the Department of Transportation, and they actually do testing themselves in order to have a helmet that meets ECE ratings. You have to send the helmet to them, and they have to test it. Um, and that's the minimum that I look for personally in my gear. You'll see that my helmet, and this is where you'll find, guys, every helmet you'll find the rating, uh, the back lower center of the helmet. You'll see that mine has the DOT sticker here. It is DOT rated, but also right under that you'll see ECE, and that little code is the form that they use for their testing. I'll leave a link to that one as well. But anyway, that's the minimum that I personally look for. Now, kind of the king of them all is the SNELL rating, the SNELL Memorial Foundation. Um, test a lot of gear, and their certification standards and their testing methods are very rigorous and a lot higher than both the Department of Transportation and the European Standards Commission. They typically test a lot of your racing gear, your high speed, high risk kind of gear. And another important thing to note, these helmets are being tested for impact and abrasion across the board. That's what they're all being tested for. SNELL Safety Foundation, however, they test their helmets for impact, abrasion, and heat. They are also fire resistant. Um, Very important because you deal with a lot of high heat situations in a racing environment. And again, they mostly test racing equipment. And another thing to note about the SNELL rating, SNELL rated helmets are going to be quite a bit more expensive than your average DOT or ECE rated helmet. Again, it's because they go through they're built to a much higher standard. They have to withstand a lot more rigorous a test than DOT and ECE helmets. So now that we know about the different helmet ratings and what they mean, you may be asking yourself, how can I protect the rest of my body from impact and abrasion? And that's going to bring us to jackets. Now, an often overlooked piece of riding gear is going to be a jacket. Now, a lot of people, consider a motorcycle jacket essential gear, but a lot of people are going to, you still see a lot of people wearing just a regular jacket on a motorcycle. And so I'm here to tell you about the actual motorcycle jackets and their safety ratings. First of all, you're going to have two main materials for your jacket. It's either going to be a leather jacket or a mesh jacket. And the safety ratings that we talk about, CE level 1 and CE level 2, are going to refer to not just the jacket, but also the little armor plates that go in there. There are armor plates that protect your joints and your spine from impact and abrasion. We'll talk about the armor plates in a second, but I want to talk about leather jackets first. Full grain leather is going to provide the most abrasion resistance in a jacket. Hands down, it's the best material. Down here in the South, it gets so hot that a leather jacket doesn't always make sense. And it's important to note that we're talking about full grain leather here, not fashion leather. The fashion leather jacket that you bought from Belk is not going to be a good motorcycle jacket unless it is full grain leather. And you also want to check the stitching in a leather jacket. You want to ensure that it's at minimum double stitched because you don't want to hit the ground and take a slide and then the jacket just come apart. That can happen. So mesh jackets, I wear a mesh jacket most of the time. I actually have one here to show you. This jacket here, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's kind of worn out. The reason being, took a couple slides in this jacket. I've crashed in this jacket more than once, and it's saved my skin. Another thing to note when we're talking about motorcycle jackets, they don't necessarily have to be replaced after every crash. It just depends on the condition of the jacket. And also the same with helmets. A helmet doesn't necessarily have to be replaced every time it gets hit hard or when it falls off the shelf. But there are definitely things you should look for, like if the materials come loose or if any parts of the materials break, then obviously it needs to be replaced. But we're gonna talk a little bit now about these armor plates that come in these jackets. You have CE level 1 and CE level 2. CE level 1 ensures that less than 30 kilonewtons of force will be transmitted to the protected area, and CE level 2 means that less than 20 kilonewtons of force will be transmitted to the protected area. And I actually have here, this is a CE level 1 spine protector. Very important piece of equipment. It just fits right in the back of the jacket there. And most, not all, But most of your riding jackets that you see nowadays are going to, if they don't come with these armor plates already in them, they're going to come with pockets so that you can buy armor plates and put in them. They don't cost a whole lot of money. They are a good investment. Um, so, all that being said, I'd like to point out that right now, there's so many different options available for helmets, for jackets. They're more affordable than they've ever been. We live in a buyer's market when it comes to safety gear. There's a helmet and a jacket out there for everybody, and there's no reason to settle for something that you don't like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my speech, and hope everyone has a great day. I would also like to take this time to cite my sources. My sources for all this information, I got all of my information directly from the Department of Transportation, the European Standards Commission, the SNELL Foundation, and I'm gonna put links to all this information in the description below. All of my information is taken directly from those sources. Anyway, again, hope you guys have a great day.